What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, that means you're new. I'm Mark. What's good with y'all? Go check out my other videos. Check them out. Check them out. Ooh, camera's a little. There we go. There we are. All right. So, with that being said, this video, I think it's a good talking point here because I've been seeing a lot of videos on YouTube Shorts, and I'm sure some of y'all are similar ways. You just scroll through YouTube Shorts, and if you're like me, it's damn near nothing but gun content, which is good. I enjoy watching it. However, one thing that really bothers me is when I see people flexing their binary triggers. So it made me think about it. I was like, you know what? Let me sit here and discuss my opinions on binary triggers, whether they're really good for self-defense or not. Now, I do want to start this this video with a disclaimer by stating that just because I'm stating it's not good for self-defense doesn't mean that you shouldn't own one. Let's get that out the way, guys. I am what's known as a collector. I'm a firm believer in even if it's not good, I might still get one. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, let's get that out the way. Binary triggers, are they good for self-defense or not? Of course, I'm going to run it through all four situations. I'm going to even be nice enough to say, you know what? Let's run it through all four self-defense situations with handguns and rifles. Because as some of y'all know, you can get binary triggers for your Glocks, you can get them for your ARs, whatever. You know what I mean? So, if you don't know what a binary trigger is, all right, shit. Yeah, the only guns I got on me are my EDC. I'm not taking them off. So, but binary trigger is where, let's say I'm shooting, right? Bang. I pulled the trigger and went bang like it's supposed to. I released the trigger. Bang. So, it goes bang with the release of the trigger as well as the pulling of the trigger. All right? So you're essentially letting off 2 rounds with one trigger pull, but also not exactly one trigger pull because it's the trigger pull that lets one off and the release that lets the other off. So it essentially allows you for, a tiny bit quicker fire, realistically speaking. Now, really, is it that much quicker of fire? Depends on who it is. You know what I mean? Depends on who you're dealing with, how quick their finger is, just how it is like with every other gun. Now, with that being said, let's get right into it. We're going to start with home defense. All right, we're going to start with handguns as well. So, if you throw a binary trigger on your handgun for your home defense, you better have trained with it. You better have trained with it. And here's why I say that. All right, here's the thing. Here's my biggest problem. There are people in the gun community that buy conversion kits strictly to have a third point of contact to help reduce recoil and help get follow-up shots better on target with their handguns. The fact that you need a conversion kit to do that, you know what I mean, shows that you're not really ready to sit there and mag dump like you need to. You're not really able to sit there and get as many rounds off as quick as you need to, as accurate as you need to. So in a situation like that, unless you have truly trained with it, and that's a common theme you're going to see among this video, is that unless you've really trained with it, there's not much you can do. All right? Now, here's another situation. I want to point this out. Let's say someone does break into your home, right? Someone breaks in, you shoot them. The threat is no longer a threat. All right? However, you have a binary trigger. It wasn't the release of the trigger that fired the round that stopped the threat. It was the round that you pulled the trigger on that fired, it was a round that was fired when you pulled the trigger that stopped the threat. So that begs the question of what's going to happen if, let's say, bam, 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 bam. That no longer a threat. I still have this trigger held down though. You know what I mean? Still have the trigger held down here. So what's going to happen? I have to sit here while holding the trigger, drop the mag, clear the chamber, make sure that there's not going to be another round going off. All right, 1, because I don't want to damage my own property. 2, I don't want to damage other people in my home. 3, let's say I do just shoot the guy again by releasing the trigger, I'm going to go to jail for excessive use of force. You see what I mean? I'm like, there's so many problems that, can come with a binary trigger just because, in a sense, you are either forced to, deal with that second round, or you might just have to figure something out. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of situations where, especially in a close quarter situation where a binary trigger is going to be super effective. Now, I'm not saying it can't be effective. However, I personally wouldn't trust that because, dog, I don't want to go, bro. I don't know about y'all. All right, I don't want to go to jail for defending my fucking home. I don't. I really don't. All right. So home defense for handguns is not really getting that high of a, of a, I guess you could say, rating, whatever you want to call it, however you want to put it down. Now, rifles are where I feel it's a bit different. All right. A binary trigger on a rifle, while I still don't think is the most optimal for self-defense due to the simple fact that, hey, you still do have bang, bang. You know what I mean? You still have that aspect of more than one round will be fired if you release that trigger. However, with a rifle, a majority of rifles at least, the safety is very much within reach of where you'd be able to initiate the safety without having to release the trigger. Now, I will say, I am not the most versed on binary triggers. I could be mistaken here. I could be entirely wrong. And if I am, please correct me down below. Please do. All right. Now, it's essentially the same situation, only with a rifle. That's all it is. Now, with rifles, they do have, at least a majority of rifles have manual safeties on them. Not every handgun has a manual safety on it. Everybody knows that. All right. You do get a better chance with a rifle. And I will say right now that, it'll definitely be easier to make the argument, oh, well, I didn't realize the threat was going down, considering, you also have this big fucking rifle on you. You're focusing on trying to maintain that as well as stopping the threat compared to a handgun, which is much, much more easily maneuverable and maintainable. So there's a couple of pros and cons, you know what I mean? One of the biggest pros, of course, for a binary trigger is going to be a quicker rate of fire. That is the truth of the matter here. And once again, that really is only based off who you are as a shooter. Now, let's go ahead and move on to concealed carry. Of course, we're not doing rifles in this situation. It's not like you're going to be walking around with a fucking rifle unless you're in an open carry state, which even then, I truly don't recommend open carry. It doesn't seem like the greatest idea. It seems like you're easy picking for robbers. You're easy picking. You're going to be the first person to get shot if a shooting takes place because nobody wants you to fight back. They're going to shoot you first. So we're not even going to discuss that. All right. If you are concealed carrying and you have to use your gun in a self-defense situation and you have a binary trigger, you essentially have just upped your chance of going to jail a lot more. Now, binary triggers in no way, shape, or form are illegal. All right. They are not. Sorry, some people may be like, oh, well, what about what the ATF says about this? Personally, I don't give a fuck what the ATF says half the time. I really don't. You know why? Because they don't create laws. They're a law enforcement agency. I don't give a fuck what they say half the time. I don't. So the reason why I'm saying you are essentially increasing your risk of jail time is due to the simple matter of fact that, one, in a uncontrolled environment, because you can't control every single aspect of what's going on outside of your home. You can't even control every single aspect of what goes on in your home. All right, that's just the truth of the matter here. You don't control exactly when your AC turns off. You don't control exactly when the lights come on. None of that shit. However, what I can say is that simply and truly, it is a million times less predictable outside of your home. So, with that being said, you have a lot more threats to deal with. You have a lot more situational awareness that needs to be had. There's a lot to deal with it, and a lot of people, they don't want to sit there and openly admit it, but carrying a binary trigger in a self-defense situation outside of your home is going to be a very shitty situation. All right. A lot of people, they don't get the best grip on their guns when they need it immediately. They don't get the chance to do everything properly because it is such a serious situation. It is so serious and so quick. People don't ever truly think about how fast it all happens. Not an ad, not paid, but god damn it, I love ghosts. So, back to what I was saying. With how quick the situation ends up being, a binary trigger really can only be a negative. Because while, yes, it may allow you to get more shots on target quicker, it also is going to increase your chance of missing shots due to the fact that your brain isn't going to be naturally expecting, boom, boom. Your brain's not going to be expecting that. That's just not how it works. Now, granted, as I said, there is such a thing as training, where if you train long enough over time, it may become a muscle memory. May. That doesn't guarantee that'll be the case. So that's something people need to understand right now. Essentially, binary triggers, from what I'm gathering, are just a better idea for a range toy. I'll be honest with you. I don't see a purpose in truthfully needing them for self-defense. Do I think that they can't do the job? Like if you put a binary trigger on your gun, you're immediately not going to be able to defend yourself? No, of course not. However, I do think it's going to make it a bit more difficult, especially without the training. Now, I think that about covers it for concealed carry. It's not getting a great rating all around here, considering you're risking property damage on property that's not yours. You're risking damaging other people who have nothing to do with the threat because you're going to be out and about, and there's probably going to be other people around you. You know what I mean? You have a lot to worry about there that, a binary trigger just complicates a lot more. Now, we're going to move on to shit hits the fan. The SHTF. Is a binary trigger useful? I couldn't tell you. That one I really couldn't give you a truthful answer on, because what I look at as shit hits the fan is mass lawlessness. I mean, nobody is following the laws, even the people who set them. All right? In every way, shape, and form, when I say shit hits the fan, I mean shit hits the fan. All right? So, with that being the case, it can be a pro or con depending on what situation you find yourself in. You know what I mean? I'm sure there are situations in a shit hits a fan where a binary trigger could be pretty useful, but I'm also sure there are some where it might not be useful. You know what I mean? That's one of those situations where it's like, well, shit, I guess we'll see. You know what I mean? It's an accessory. It's not a fucking gun, guys. So it's not like I can sit here and, truly come up with some good situations based around the accessory itself. So it's, it can be helpful. It can be, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna go ahead and just give it an even 5 on shit hits the fan, because as many goods as I see it having in a shit hits the fan, I also see it having that many cons as well. So we're gonna call that an even move on. All right. Last but not least, we are going to be talking about animal defense, defending yourself against an animal. Now, a lot of people don't realize, you know what? Here's the thing. All right. Let me put this for reference. All right. An animal can attack you anywhere, anytime. It can be your animal. It can be somebody else's animal. It can be a wild animal. All right. It doesn't matter where you are. There are animals on the planet. The only places where you're going to find such a small amount of animals it's unlikely you'll run across them is somewhere insanely fucking cold. Like, bro, we're talking like North Pole, South Pole type shit. And even then, you'll still run across some animals. You'll probably just not see them. They'll probably just see you, which is more terrifying. But that's neither here nor there. All right. Now, in something like this, I truthfully see a binary trigger, and actually same goes for shit hits the fan. I truthfully see a binary trigger being more effective on a rifle than a handgun. All right. And here's why I say that, is that depending on the size of the animal you have, depending on what a situation is, you might need that extra round, because some animals do like to act like they're down for the count. They really do, because the second you turn your back to get away from them, that's when they pounce on you. Like, I swear, people might be thinking I'm crazy. When I tell you, some of these animals are ridiculously fucking smart. All right? Let me put it like this. Do you guys even know what a crow is known for doing? Crows are known for being so smart they can remember human faces. They're known for being so smart they bring gifts to people who are nice to them. This is a bird. This is a bird, all right? Imagine if it's something that has a higher level of intelligence, a larger brain, something that's actually created to just hunt and kill, and that's what their entire being was about, like a fucking bear. I'm sorry, yo, I'm gonna be real. Some of these animals are way too fucking smart. They are way too smart, and I would not want to deal with that shit. I would not. I mean, you can look. Here's a perfect example. My older brother. I will not say his name, of course, out of respect for him, because if he wanted to come on here and tell that story, I can figure that out. However, he stepped outside of his apartment. To smoke a cigarette. Neighbor's dog got off leash, attacked him. Now, let me clarify this. My brother's perfectly fine. This happened well over a year ago. However, I flat out told him, I'm like, bro, I wouldn't have cared if the owner was there or not. That dog would not be living. And he's like, yeah, well, I fucked up. I stepped outside without my shit and I got attacked by a fucking dog. I don't know. And I'm like, yeah. So let me clarify this. I know it sounds like I'm just going off on a tangent here. Defending yourself against an animal can happen anytime, guys. Nobody, just like you don't want to have to defend yourself against a person, you don't want to have to defend yourself against an animal. All right, depending the size of the animal, a binary trigger truthfully can be honestly a blessing, And by the same logic, by the same size of the by the same logic, by the size of the animal, it can also be a really bad thing. Now, let's sit here and say it's something along the lines of just like, what happened with my brother, right? Neighbor's dog attacked him. Well, I really don't think a binary would be helpful in that case. I really don't. You know what I mean? That wouldn't have been a situation where, letting off more rounds into, the dog would have done anything. If anything, the dog would have gotten hit once and then, just stopped. Because that's every time I've seen a dog get shot, that's what's happened. Every time. It's not been, oh, well, there's one that, no. Every time I've seen a dog get shot, they have stopped with one shot. And it sucks. It's a horrible thing to see. It really breaks my heart every time I see it. But I'll be damned if I'm going to be a victim to a dog. I'll be damned. Now, something like a bear, alligators, larger animals like that, oh yeah. I'm sorry, but I'm going to be real. I don't give a shit. I really don't. If I see a large animal like that I know can eat me whole, that is coming after me, I don't give a fuck how anybody feels about how many rounds I put in that animal. I will literally put every single round I have into that animal to make sure I am not in danger anymore. That's just the truth of the matter here. Y'all may feel otherwise, but in that case, defending yourself against a large animal, I truthfully do see a binary trigger being useful. Smaller animals, not so much. They don't take anywhere near as much pressure or firepower even to stop if you're truly being attacked. However, larger ones, that's a whole nother, ball field. I'm sure you guys are aware of that. But, let me go ahead and just wrap it up with the scores, give you guys the overall number. Home defense was not looking too great. Really, neither was, excuse me, I can English. Really, neither was concealed carry. All right, I'm going to give those both a 3 just to be nice because my truthful thought was a 2, but I'll be nice and give them both a 3. Shit hits the fan. As I said, I'm going to give it an even 5 because I can see 50-50. Animal defense, I'll bump it up to a 7 because the truth of the matter is that defending yourself against larger animals is such a big deal. Such a big deal. It really is. You know what I mean? The fact that you can get that extra round off if need be. Let's say you are in the middle of being attacked. You're able to fire once, and you're about to fall. Well, guess what? If you fall and you have that shit pointed right, I know it's going to be difficult to do. Release that trigger. You get that extra round in the animal. You might save your life. So I think that about wraps it up for this video. 7, 5, 3, 3. That's fuck. Yeah, so that's like that's not even a 50%. So let's just binary triggers overall, they're not the greatest for self-defense. Do they make you unable to defend yourself properly? No. It just takes time, training, practice, and honestly, mental fitness. Because if you're not mentally fit enough to sit there and say, hey, I want to go get this handled, I want to get this training done. If you're not, if you're not able to keep yourself focused on that one topic of making sure you're ready to defend yourself, then you're going to end up playing yourself over. You're going to end up screwing yourself over, and it's going to end up being a whole nother situation where you thought you had it, but you don't have it. So training is super important. That being said, that wraps it up for this video. Y'all make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that bell. When you hit that bell, hit all. And because you agree with me, while binary triggers may be cool, all right, they're not necessarily the most optimal for self-defense. Y'all make sure to check out all my other videos. Check them all out. All right, every single one. Check them all out. Y'all make sure to stay legal, stay safe, stay dangerous. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.